for about 5 years at Erin Park. It was actually 91 to 96 Street, just about 5.5 years. I decided to get brave. I was around 27 years old then, and said, okay, Everold, you're smart now and you know everything, or at least you think you know everything. Let's go and open your own used car dealership. Okay, so brave, great move, but I didn't fund it with enough money. And it started out well because I was ambitious and this and independent and wanted to show everybody that I could do it. And I did for about 2.5, 3 years. But when you start a business and it actually starts to grow, it actually costs you a lot more money when growth starts to happen. And it becomes very tiring, and then you have to have employees, and I had 5 employees at the time. I'm in my late 20s and it's driving me crazy. And after that, I was, courted back to Toyota after, I was having conversations and telling them how stressed I was. And I joined Oakville Toyota. I don't have that on here, but it's relative to Lexus of Oakville in the 2001 information here. So I joined Oakville Toyota back in 2000, 2001, set a whole bunch of sales records there, and it was in that year, 2000, 2001, when Lexus Canada was then awarded the next 6 Lexus dealers, or next 6 Lexus franchises for the country. And because during the time I managed Oakville Toyota, we sold a whole whack of cars, close to 1,000 cars. It was a huge increase of almost 40% when I took it over to manage it. And with those dramatic increases and the huge results we had from a customer service perspective and showing them that we could actually get those numbers, they awarded my owner the franchise for Oakville, for Lexus of Oakville. So I stepped away from the business from there for a bit, for about a year, and I did get a call back from him about a year and a half later when the store was half built to say, can you come back and be the general sales manager and open the store? So I was able to, in a very short time in my career, now I'm in my 30s, okay, take a company from a startup position where it's under construction, we're sitting in the trailer with construction hats, we're having construction meetings, we have no staff, we have no cars, we have no advertising plan, no budget, no nothing, except we have a franchise that we're building a store for, right? In the middle of Oakville, which is very expensive. So I remember in the basement at the Oakville Toyota store, it was an old store back then, I'm sitting in the basement by myself in this old office, and I'm strategizing the market plan. I'm hiring people. I interviewed people in the basement for this new ultra-modern facility that would be built and opened in November 2001. 15 years, November 2006, we celebrated 15-year anniversary. In the very first year of opening that store, in the very first year, we surpassed all of Lexus Canada's target. We did over 502 vehicles in the first year. And selling that many and delivering that many high-end vehicles in the first year is pretty remarkable, but we did it in Oakville with 4 salespeople that I hired, 4 very good salespeople, and a strategy, and a philosophy of continuous improvement that Lexus, talks about. So, from there, I left about 2 years later, and I got into, there was one day I opened a newspaper and it talked about, there was an ad that says, earn $150,000 selling advertising. So I looked at that and I said, okay, I like to travel, I like a little bit of a change. So I took that, I applied and I got hired. But that actually, for me, was a pretty big deal. Getting out of the automotive industry and looking at things from a different perspective, traveling to different places taught me a whole lot. Okay? It gave me a lot of answers that I never had. Because if you're in one market and your whole career is centered in one area, you're selling one product, yes, you can be great at it, you can be good at it, but sometimes you will eventually get bored. okay? Or you're trying to find your niche. You're trying to find, okay, is this really what I want to do, or where will this lead me? So I started traveling all across the continent, and at the end of the day, at the end of 8 years, I had already racked up about 800,000 miles. I remember being a super elite with Air Canada for 6 straight years, which is minimum 100 flight segments or 100,000 miles a year. So it was a lot of trips everywhere. Been to 41 states, 8 provinces, hundreds of cities. But what that taught me and confirmed was, if I can step into the middle of Iowa, Winterset, Iowa, or somewhere in Virginia, or Fayetteville, North Carolina, or Fort McMurray, Alberta, and I can sell advertising space and come out with a whole bunch of money, regardless of where I go, whether I'm selling cars or whether I'm selling real estate presentation folders, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. It reaffirmed something about me, that I had some basic fundamental skills of dealing with people, of conveying value, and obtaining their trust quickly, to be able to walk out with thousands of dollars in advertising sales every day and every month, and making the most money in that company. So these are the things that I was able to transition into a book eventually. So I would urge you, as you go through your career, to document your experience as much as you can. Because you could write your own book. If you literally just start documenting what you're going through from today, 10 years from now, you literally will have a book that you can publish. Because those are real experiences. Okay, tangible. Take pictures, make some notes about your career path, the people you meet, the interesting people you meet, the experiences you have with clients, the experiences you have with owners and companies, philosophies, and that's the way to learn. So, real estate, the advertising industry opened my eyes to another segment of sales. Advertising and marketing is obviously directly involved in how much you sell and the effect you have on your marketplace. So I learned a lot about advertising and marketing, dealing with different people from different cultures, different countries, was very important to me. Real estate presentation photos, it's very simple. What we did was, we had a company where we're an agency, where we generated advertising revenue, we generated sales from selling ad spots inside the presentation folders. So the folders that, when you buy a house, the realtor and the lawyer will put documents in that file, and they'll give you a realtor folder with Century 21 or Remax or whatever your agency's on the cover. But inside that folder, there were several advertising for the lawyer, the home inspector, the contractors, all those people that are relative or related to the real estate process. So as a new buyer, you could say, okay, that's the home inspector that I'll use. Or, this is the lawyer I'll use, or this is the mortgage company I'll use. So mortgage companies, insurance companies, home inspectors, lawyer, those are big categories. Those are the key categories we went after first to fill the folder. And then we would add other categories, like construction workers or house cleaners or anybody that would advertise, groomers. Those were like the lower categories, but we targeted the major ones first. And what I learned from that was, again, walking into an office with an appointment to see a lawyer, an insurance guy, a doctor, a chiropractor, and in a matter of a half an hour, walking out with thousands of dollars because I was able to make my pitch, make my case, make my sale, and be gone. And they knew that they would probably not see me again. And it was a lot of trust.
Question, so who was paying for the folder itself? Was it the real estate agents buying the folders?
The realtors, the model was that the realtors paid nothing. The cost to them was zero.
Oh, okay.
And what they did was, you were able to use their name, their brand, because it's their folder, and reputation and affiliations within the community that they do business. So they would literally sometimes give us a referral list. Okay, because every real estate company has lawyers, mortgage companies, and inspectors that they deal with. So they'll say, okay, here are the guys that we deal with, talk to them first, we would present it to them, they buy. So the advertisers paid for the folders, The realtor would get 2,000 to 3,000 folders at zero cost. That was the model.
And so when you went into a city, how many realtors would you go to? All of them, if you could, or only a few, or?
We would work one project at a time, and a project would normally be typically a 2-week project. If it's a small town, it'd be a 1-week project. So we've done some projects right here in Barrie, up until 2011 when I managed that company, where you would work one company at a time. Now occasionally, some owners had 2 or 3 franchises, and we would actually do both at the same time. And I did that a lot in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where one owner group had like 3 franchises, different brands. So you'd go and get everybody all at the same time, sell to 3 people, or sell the same people 3 ads or 2 ads at the same time in different folders. Okay, so that's how that was done. Okay, all right. So